Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Senator Johnson, for the opportunity to appear here. It's really an honor, and it's also, I should say, an honor to be here next to the former chairman of the House Subcommittee on Europe, who is as much expert on Turkey as anybody, along with our other distinguished panelists. When I was at NATO, the joke when you were waiting for 28 nations to finish speaking in turn was that, well, everything's been said, but not everybody has said it. So I could repeat a lot of what has been said here, and I'll try to avoid that. Let me instead try to string together three aspects that I think came out. There is the strategic environment around Turkey, which is critically important, including the war in Syria. There is Turkey's role in addressing these things, and including partnership with the United States and alliance with the United States. And there are the domestic developments inside Turkey. And they have an interplay with one another that I think is tremendously important. First, Turkey's own strategic importance. Turkey has the ability to enfranchise Islam within a vibrant democracy. In so doing, it has the ability to prosper economically and politically for its own people and as an inspiration to others in the region. And given its geographic situation, it has the potential to play a meaningful and positive role in addressing many of these crises in the neighboring area. And of course, the United States is committed to the defense of Turkey as a NATO ally. And Turkey has contributed to our shared efforts in the Balkans, Afghanistan, and elsewhere. So secondly, Turkey is therefore enormously, potentially important for the United States. I emphasize potentially because that depends upon us knowing what we're doing. What do we want to achieve in Syria, in the escalation of violence in Iraq, in the Caucasus, in Central Asia? When we know what with Egypt, when we know what we are trying to do, we will find that Turkey is an invaluable partner in helping us get there. But at the moment, I think our strategic partnership is really underdeveloped with Turkey. And as a result, our influence on events in Turkey is somewhat diminished. The third is something that came up in all of the testimony, is that recently there has been a degradation in the quality of the democratic or liberal performance of the Erdogan government. We've seen two things. We've seen an insertion of Islam into public life in ways that are distressing to large segments of a more secular population. And we've seen authoritarian tendencies in response to opposition and protest inside the country. These are things that matter a lot. They have echoes in the region. The whole reason the conversation started about Turkey as a potential model or an inspiration is because the AK Party was being successful in carving out a path between military dictatorship and Islamist dictatorship. As a party with Islamic roots, but functioning well and governing well in a democratic society, they were trailblazing. For that model to be reversed in any way would be devastating for Turkey, but also send terrible signals throughout the region. That really is part of the heart of where the Syria conflict began and what we're seeing going on now in Egypt. I think, therefore, there's two pointers for U.S. policy in this, and that you've heard them from other panelists as well. The first one is that U.S. engagement is critical. First off, with respect to the crises in the region, the domestic developments inside Turkey are not yet a crisis, but the conflict in Syria, the escalation of violence in Iraq, the risk of that spilling over into Lebanon, the risk of destabilizing Jordan, the great uncertainty now which we see with Egypt, and our alliance with Israel potentially being dramatically affected by this. These are all critically important, and our ability to tackle these depends upon working the strategy for dealing those together with Turkey. I think we have a lot more investment to do in that. The second one is connected, which is the domestic developments inside Turkey. I think that, and I take the point about not condemning Prime Minister Erdogan. We shouldn't condemn him, but we should speak up firmly on behalf of the democratic values that we believe in and that most of Turkish society wishes to see fully realized in their own society. I don't think it's a choice between strategic engagement with Turkey and discussion of democracy and values that we share. Instead, by engaging strategically, it gives us the credibility, the skin in the game, also to be able to speak up on behalf of democratic values, not in a form of condemning or supporting one side against the other, but trying to uphold those values so that Turkey emerges stable, prosperous, secure, and a partner for us in dealing with some very difficult challenges in the region. Thank you.